Banji Akintoye lórí àwọn nǹkan kan tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ìran Yorùbá. Ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò. Bàbá ẹ kú ọjọ́ mẹ́ta.
Ẹ ṣé, mo dúpẹ́.
Ẹ bá kí àwọn tí wọ́n ń wà nínú ilé.
Kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá, mo kí yín nílé lóko, mo kí yín ní diaspora, in every country of the world ṣẹ́ bá wà. Ẹ kú iṣẹ́ ìwádìí, ẹ kú àforítì o, ẹ kú ìfaradà ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà. We have found ourselves in a country that we do not deserve to be in. But the situation is tough, but you are tough too. Adúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run.
Ẹ ṣeun. Kóríta tá a wà yìí ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ti ń retí pé ibo ni nǹkan dé dúró. Ǹjẹ́ ẹ lè ṣàlàyé fún wa ibi tí nǹkan dé dúró báyìí nípa ọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá àti gbogbo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lápapọ̀?
My message tonight is not for Yoruba people alone.
All right, sir.
It's for all the peoples of Nigeria. I'm sure that I am not presuming anything when I say that I'm one of the elder statesmen of Nigeria today. My stake in Nigeria is deep and abiding. In the peoples of Nigeria, deep and abiding. I have raised children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren into Nigeria. I have taught generations upon generations of Nigerian children and young adults in schools and universities all my adult life. I have a stake in the well-being of all Nigerian people. I'm best known today as a major fighter for the self-determination of the Yoruba people. But that does not mean that I do not have a stake in the well-being of all Nigerian people. For one thing, I'm a Yoruba man. And I was raised in the highest levels of traditional Yoruba society. We Yoruba don't hate any other people. We don't. So I was raised to love all people of Nigeria, of Africa, of the world. That's the character of Yoruba culture. And so what I say tonight is of utmost importance to Nigeria. Not only to my Yoruba people, but to Nigeria. We are living in a country in which we leaders, the leaders of society, are not being realistic about what is happening to our people, about what is happening to our country, about the possibilities, the horrible possibilities that show before us. We started by saying we celebrated independence, but we started to fight one another immediately after independence. And every one of the persons who have ruled Nigeria, almost every person who has ruled Nigeria, has left us a clear message that we choose to ignore. Our father, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, said, Nigeria is not a nation, just a mere geographical expression. That there are no Nigerians, in the same sense as there are Englishmen or Frenchmen or Welsh also. The man who was first Prime Minister of Nigeria, Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, who was Prime Minister of Nigeria when I was young, as an undergraduate in Ibadan, said repeatedly, not just once, said repeatedly that Nigeria, there is nothing called Nigerian unity. That the peoples of Nigeria are different in every imaginable sense, in culture, in religion, in worldview, in everything. And that they do not show any inclination to unite, to be united and be a country. That what we call Nigerian unity is just British intention for Nigeria, no more. In 1952 or 53, after I had been Prime Minister for a year or two, he visited the North and addressed the Northern House of Assembly. And he said before the House of Assembly, I am being told from all angles in the North, by my people in the North, or it was a Northern, by my people in the North, that the peoples who are streaming to the North from the South, the Yoruba, the Igbo, and others, are strangers here, are aliens here. And seriously speaking, they are not welcome. That was the Prime Minister. In 1964, he paid a visit to the University of Ibadan. And he was received in a big open air ceremony in Cheddar Hall, my hall. And he said there, among the many things he said that day, he said, one of the reasons why Nigeria's problem will remain forever insoluble is that the mistake was made in the beginning to include the three largest nations in Black Africa in this one country. That there is no solution to that. The problem is insoluble. So we've been playing politics in which ethnic conflicts, ethnic animosities dominate the politics of our country. Negotiations among our political leaders is based upon defense of our own perceived interests of our ethnic group. So it is not surprising that we went to a civil war, secession, and a civil war soon after independence. It is not surprising also that our men in the military could not stand the politicians, could not tolerate them, regarded them as bloody civilians, and so took advantage of every mistake that the politicians made to seize control, sometimes in bloody coups. And the group that became dominant in the military from 1966 July, who carried out coup after coup after coup, were all Northerners. And what they did was what every group would have done. That is, attract all power, all resource, everything to their own region. It's unfair to accuse any Nigerian for doing that, because that's what every Nigerian would do. There is no sense of unity that will make a Nigerian ruler see Nigeria broadly. In 1975, after our father, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, came out of the Gawan government, military government, after the Civil War, in the quality, from the quality of mind that he controlled, he came to the conclusion that we should make a serious effort to build Nigeria. We had made a mistake. We had made a series of mistakes, serious mistakes. And we had ended up fighting a civil war in which more than 3 million of our citizens had been killed by Nigeria. And that if really we want Nigeria, this is the point at which we must now rise from the dust of that disaster and build a country. Fortunately, we are now producing wealth in oil, and we should use the resources to build Nigeria, to build the peoples of Nigeria, to build the people of Nigeria, and give them comfort and significance in the world. I was the manifesto of that party that our father Awolowo founded. And we who are young intellectuals in the party used to brag that we were on the path of building Nigeria into the black man's world power of modern times. But it never happened. Nigeria is not ready to be developed. Nigeria cannot be developed. Nigeria has never worked and can never work. And it is time to stop blaming anybody and to accept the reality. Finally, we have come to an era now, since 2015, from the beginning of Muhammadu Buhari's presidency. We have now come to the beginning, to an era in which we are killing one another actively without a war. The Fulani say, we've never had a homeland, but now we must have a homeland. And from all that we Fulani can see, God has given us Nigeria for a homeland. It's our duty to take it by force. What are the indications that they saw? What are the divine indications that they claim to see? One, when the first Fulani people came to Hausa land in the early 19th century, there were just a handful of people. And yet, things happened in such a way that the Hausa themselves handed their country over to us, and we Fulani became the rulers of Hausa land. That's God in action. We couldn't have done it. We did not command the number to do it. But the Hausa people did it for us. Then the British came as colonial overlords. And from all the logic of the situation, we were the last kind of people they should have made friends with. But they chose us as their favorites. The people they called friendly people, the Fulani. If they were to choose the people who were like themselves, they should have chosen the Yoruba who are already well educated, producing university graduates and so on since the 1860s. But they didn't. They chose us. And when they were about to leave, they manipulated everything and handed the country over to us. That's God in action. We couldn't have done that by ourselves. So God has given us Nigeria And what we need to do now is to create a homeland. We've never had a homeland. Our own ancestors never settled in a homeland. But we must now have a homeland. And that homeland has to be Nigeria. And the way